BPAL has been around for quite a long time, almost 20 years by now if I'm not wrong. I've only discovered these in around like 2014 or 2015, and I've already amassed probably 100 bottles of these. These come in small 5ml essential oil size bottles, but don't be fooled because most of these are pretty concentrated and they will last a long time. The thing to bear in mind about oil-based fragrances is they are never going to give you that immediate punch you get from wearing an alcohol-based perfume because the molecules do not vaporize into the air. What happens when you wear an oil-based scent is it sort of slowly sinks into your skin a little bit, it warms up, and then these scent molecules slowly evaporate and release into the air. So you have this really soft and close projection around you. It's never going to be overly loud, it's not going to enter a room before you, and it's not going to leave a very long scent trail. So depending on your preferences, you may love it or you may dislike it. What I like about them is they are very personal, they stay in your immediate space, so when someone hugs you or kisses you, they will smell it, but you're not going to be a pong monster in the lift. Now, BPAL is what I consider one of the OG Gothic scent companies. They have a lot of scents which are based on Gothic literary works, Shakespeare, horror comics, ghost stories and all that, which makes it really fun if you have an active imagination and you like reading scent descriptions that really transport you to a different time and place. I would suggest, since we all have some time right now, to go to the Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab website, scroll through some of their scent categories, read some of the poems and descriptions that come along with each of these scents. They turn scent into an experience that's really transporting. It makes you imagine a time and a place that's different from wherever you are. It also allows you to inhabit a different persona, bring out different facets of your personality as well. The thing about BPAL is their catalogue is massive. So the permanent collection, what they call their general catalogue scents, numbers around about 600 plus or 700. And that doesn't include all the limited edition offerings that come out seasonally. So at any one point, if you visit their site, you could be looking at upwards of 1,000 scents. Quick tip if you are completely new to BPAL is to visit the beloved favorites section on their website. This would be a listing of their top sellers throughout the year. It includes scents like Alice, which is carnations, roses, and sweetness. They have snake oil, which is kind of like their voodoo sexy scent. It's very unisex. It's kind of powdery and musky and spicy, but also based around a really rich, deep vanilla. Not like ice cream vanilla, it's real vanilla absolute. It's really dark, it's really complex and kind of thick. One of my favorite gothic or tragic anti-heroes or villains of all time is Dorian Gray. Now, the portrait of Dorian Gray is the story of a beautiful man who is very, very debauched, and he basically indulges in a lifetime of sin and excesses. So Dorian owns this cursed painting which is hidden in his house somewhere, and the more sins and the more evils he commits, the uglier the painting gets, even as he stays immortally beautiful and youthful looking. It always reminds me to reflect on myself and on modern society in general, because this seems to be a study in how we are so obsessed with the outward presentation and visual of ourselves, and we forget about what we might be losing or what we might be giving up. That aside, Dorian is a gorgeous gourmand scent. This is based around an Earl Grey tea accord. So you have that beautiful bright bergamot, maybe a tiny bit of lavender. They don't say whether there's lavender in here, but I seem to smell a little bit of that. There is that vanilla tea, which is really creamy. It's just kind of like a milky, thick tea. And underneath all this sweetness and light, at the base of it, there's a lot of muskiness to it. So it really is that facade of a perfect Victorian gentleman, and then something a little bit nasty, a little bit forbidden at the base. In my experience, it's not overly musky or dirty smelling. The musks are just there to kind of round out the whole scent and keep it from being just overly foody and girly. And yes, this is a unisex scent. I think it would smell really sexy on a guy. Now, I mentioned Alice a little while earlier. This is my second bottle. I've repurchased this, I think, 3 or 4 times, and I've also made a gift of this as well to a couple of friends. Now, this is a rose and carnation scent. Carnation is quite a spicy floral, so don't think that this is going to be some fresh, delicate, girly kind of scent. It has a little bit of a kick. I would say more womanly than you might expect. It's also got honey and milk in there just to round things out and smooth out the edges, but this is a very atypical rose type fragrance, which is just gorgeous. BPAL has a group of scents called the Conjure Bag, and these are mostly based off old voodoo oil recipes. They have a couple of love potions, some that are supposed to bring you wealth and success, and my favorite of the lot is Aunt Caroline's Joy Mojo, which, as the name suggests, brings you lots of happiness. You have to smell this to believe it. It smells like oranges and tangerine, and it's kind of like an even punchier and brighter, happier version of what would Love do from LUSH. This is so addictive and so happiness inducing. The thing about a lot of the BPAL oils and why I love them so much is they are quite concentrated, which means you can mix 1 or 2 drops into, like jojoba oil or fractionated coconut oil and use it all over the body as a body oil. You can mix it with a little bit of a hair serum, put it in your hair, and then you smell it wafting around you all day. There's a lot of things you can do with this one, depending how you want to dilute it. Couple of suggestions for those of you who prefer slightly more exotic, spicy scents or Arabic scents. Now, Morocco is to me the lighter and brighter of the two. It's got a lot of incenses, but it's not burnt incense, it's not smoky. It's just a lot of the resins and beautiful spices, and also very clean sandalwood note. Scherezade, on the other hand, is very much more Arabic in nature. It's very much richer and spicier. It's muskier as well. It's got red musk, which is an accord that BPAL makes, and it shows up in stuff like snake oil, Madame Moriarty, and a lot of the other scents. And it's here in Scherezade as well. It adds a certain kind of like a spicy kick to the whole musk base, and it makes things very complex and very rich. I do find that I have to be in the right mood to wear any of these scents that contain red musk. BPAL has a lot of recurring seasonal collections that come out annually, and it's always so fun to explore these. They have a Halloween collection, they have the Yule collection for Christmas, they also have the Lupercalia, which come out around Valentine's Day, and this is possibly my favorite collection annually because of the amount of humor in all the scents. Case in point, one of the scents I get the most kick out of is one called Signior Dildo. Yes, you heard me right, Signior Dildo. And the artwork that they commission each year or that they license for use on the labels is just so funny. So you have to have a sense of humor, basically, to enjoy the Lupercalia scents. You do have to be a little bit careful if you have kids in the house when you're browsing the Lupercalia section, because there will be nudity and uncensored imagery in there. There are some scents which are recurring every year though, and there is Smut. Now this is a combination of several musks, and there's also sugar and booze. It sounds questionable, but it smells so beautiful. The thing about musks is not every musk note smells dirty. Musk is also used frequently as a laundry detergent scent. So because this is a blend of different musks, it is both clean and dirty at the same time, which is very, very interesting. It's very complex. And then, of course, you have the sugar and booze to kind of just lighten and brighten things up a little bit. So Smut is one of my favorites. Another one that I really love, which has appeared maybe twice in the last 4 or 5 years, is called Body Remember. Beautiful ambergris scent with sugarcane and coconut and musk. Now, it sounds like it's going to be a gourmand scent, but I think the ambergris and the musk help to keep it from going overly sugary and foodie smelling. It's really hard to make comparisons or tell you guys how this smells because there are no other scents that I've found on the market which smell quite like these. So it's really something that you have to experience for yourself once in a lifetime. I do have some of the Halloween collection as well, and one of my favorite recurring ones is called September Midnight. Now, the bottle artwork does change from year to year, so depending on which year you buy it, You may get a different design, which makes them so eminently collectible. Now, this contains pomegranate, amber, chypre, and myrrh. I especially love the pomegranate note from BPAL, so if you think you might like that kind of fruity but not overly acidic, juicy note, then you may want to check out one of their general catalogue or permanent scents, which is called Persephone. And yes, that is the Persephone of Greek mythology. When Hades, the god of the underworld, saw her and fell in love with her, he abducted her, brought her back to his kingdom, and because she ate 6 pomegranate seeds when she was there with him, the punishment for that was that she had to visit him for 6 months of the year. Her mother, the goddess of the harvest, would mourn for 6 months of the year, which is why you would get 6 months of plenty and 6 months where, the earth just won't bear fruit. Now, of course, they often have fun stuff as well. During Lupercalia, they will often have chocolate scents, they will have rose scents, and during Halloween they will have pumpkin scents and apple scents. So if you have a love for certain things like pumpkin spice latte and all that, you may want to keep an eye out for the seasonal collections. 2 Yule or Christmas scents which recur every year and are really popular are Snow White and Rose Red. Now, Rose Red is exactly what you think. It looks like a soliflor, but it smells like a blend of many different kinds of roses. But this is just beautiful, beautiful, bright, crisp, juicy rose. It almost smells a little bit appley. I'm not sure why, but this is really nice one. If you want something a little bit more atypical, go for Snow White. This is a creamy blend which nobody really knows the notes for, but it smells like marzipan and almond and a tiny bit of mint. So it's creamy but not sugary. And it's a very soft scent. Unlike Rose Red, this doesn't have much of a throw, meaning if someone's standing maybe half a meter away from you, they may not smell it. But I love it because this is something that you put on to enjoy by yourself. It's really personal. Now, the last scent I'm going to mention today is another interesting one, and this is called O, which I guess stands for orgasm. I'm not entirely sure, but BPAL describes this as a scent of sexual obsession, slavery to sensual pleasure, and the undercurrent of innocence defiled. And the scent is, well, not really as musky and dirty as you might expect. This is an amber, vanilla, and honey kind of a smell. It's very sweet. I consider it quite gourmand. I don't really know what's the best way to describe this because it's not really sexy to me at all. It's really just a rich, musky honey smell. It's very oriental. It's slightly gourmand. It is very addictive to me. And, if you love the smell of honey or you think you might like the smell of honey, then you want to check this one out because it's so addictive. That is a quick overview of some of my favorite indie fragrances. Obviously, this is not going to be all of them. There are some brands like Cocoa Pink and all that, which I also like, but I don't find them to be unique enough in terms of scent or the overall theme and presentation to include here in this video. But if you have specific requests or questions, or you want to recommend certain indie fragrance brands, please let me know in the comments below because I'm always exploring. To me, fragrance has always been an integral but invisible part of my wardrobe. It's just as important as applying lipstick or deciding what bag you're going to carry that day. It's an invisible accessory. It's an invisible armor or shield depending on your mood. It can affect your mood in many, many ways. It is very extra, but it is also a facet of self-care. I do own tons of generic mass market perfumes. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy those as well, but just once in a while when I want to take a break from the mundane, I don't want to smell like everyone else, and I just want my little bit of an invisible personal space, then I will pick up one of these little bottles, apply a little bit, and then I'm immediately transported to a different place. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!